If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to you. Gideon versus Wainwright. In 1961, a man with an 8th grade education picked up a pencil in his prison cell and accidentally changed American history forever. Clarence Earl Gideon was a poor drifter with weathered skin, gray hair, and a lifetime of bad luck behind him. He bounced between odd jobs, cheap rooms, and occasional jail time, barely surviving from one day to the next. When he stood trial in a Florida courtroom in 1961 for allegedly breaking into a pool hall, he had no money and no lawyer. The evidence was weak. Someone claimed they saw him near the building with coins in his pocket. A little cash and some beer had been stolen. That was enough. Before the trial began, Gideon made a simple request. "Your Honor, I request this court to appoint counsel to represent me." The judge refused. Florida only provided lawyers for capital cases, not for poor men accused of smaller crimes. So a man who never finished middle school was expected to defend himself against trained prosecutors. He tried anyway. He questioned witnesses, argued his innocence, did everything he could. The jury found him guilty in minutes. 5 years in prison. Most people would have accepted defeat. Gideon didn't. Inside the prison library, he slowly taught himself the Constitution. He read about the 6th Amendment and became consumed by one question. How could justice exist if only rich people could afford real defense? After Florida courts rejected him, Gideon sat down in his prison cell with a pencil and wrote directly to the United States Supreme Court. 5 handwritten pages. Misspelled words. Shaky handwriting. But the message was clear. This is not right. Against impossible odds, the Supreme Court agreed to hear his case. They assigned him attorney Abe Fortas, one of the best lawyers in America. Fortas argued something painfully obvious: if even great lawyers hire attorneys when accused of crimes, how could an uneducated man defend himself alone? Gideon versus Wainwright. On March 18, 1963, the Supreme Court ruled unanimously in Gideon's favor. Every poor defendant charged with a serious crime now had the constitutional right to an attorney. The decision changed the American justice system forever. Gideon received a new trial, this time with a lawyer. The prosecution's case quickly fell apart. Witnesses were exposed as unreliable. Doubt flooded the courtroom. The verdict came back. Not guilty. After more than 2 years behind bars, Clarence Earl Gideon walked free. He died 4 years later, buried at first in an unmarked grave. But his word survived him. Today, every time someone hears, "If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed to you," they are hearing the echo of one man sitting alone in a prison cell with a pencil in his hand. Clarence Gideon proved that sometimes history changes because one ordinary person refuses to stay silent.